Hello, everybody. This is the day. We've got public betas out on iOS and macOS, but today we're going to be doing some shortcuts talk with Chris Lawley and talking all about the iPad updates, shortcuts, everything. So, hello, Chris.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me. I'm super excited for all these public betas and being able to finally start talking about some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We tried to do this last week, but there was construction noise. There is still construction noise, if you might hear quietly, but I got a new mic for my whole Twit setup, so it should have better sound isolation and everything. So should be good to go.
Sounds really good to me.
Yeah.
I can't hear anything, so I think we're good.
Sweet. Good to know. And yes, we've got tons of people in the chat already. Please, if you're joining in, just say hi, leave questions, comments along the way. We can respond to it in real time and everything too. And anything we don't get to immediately while we're talking, we can follow up with at the end and everything. So, all right, Chris, what do you think of just hot take right off the bat?
Ooh, hot take. Okay, all right.
Pick your topic.
If we want to just start broad with iPad OS 15, I'm really excited about this update. There's a lot of really good stuff in it. Just kind of I put out a video yesterday about kind of like a big overview of all the features, but some key stuff that I'm excited about is the new multitasking changes. Those are big, especially with keyboard shortcuts and being able to control all that stuff from basically anywhere in the OS, whether you're using the new menu bar or keyboard shortcuts or whatever. Quick Note has been a really interesting feature. It's gotten me to use the Apple Notes app again quite a bit. And then shortcuts also. I mean, you and I talk about shortcuts every once in a while. Like it's kind of a thing. I guess we could say we're hobbyists. No, I'm just kidding. Shortcuts got some nice changes, editor changes, new actions that are, I was playing with some trying to play with some before the stream because the beta is very buggy and it keeps crashing on me right now. So yeah. I don't have that many new shortcuts using the actions, but I have shortcuts ideas for when it's stabilized to make new shortcuts.
Pretty much I have the same experience right now. It's
yeah.
I've been trying to make them, but just things like dragging actions will just like freeze and all that. So, and plus I want to just steal all of your ideas and make them immediately. So that's
never, they're mine.
I mean, I figure specifically for video creators, the file stuff is going to be really good. So that's awesome.
Yeah, you and I were talking one day privately, and I was like, okay, I can make a shortcut with these that basically builds out a folder structure for a project. So I already have a shortcut I run when I create a new video project. So I'm going to add on to that when shortcuts kind of stabilizes a little bit, basically building out the folder structure for a new video project. So nice. I'm excited to kind of dive into those.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely good. So what do you think about all the Mac updates, though?
It's okay. You can have them if you want. I'm like, it's fine. I have my Mac Mini, but I don't use it for anything. Honestly, I was talking on another podcast not too long ago. Basically, I was asked, like, what am I using that Mac Mini for? And honestly, since the new iPads came out, nothing. Because now that the new iPads have Thunderbolt, I can use that for my archival storage. And then on top of that, the new files in iPad, or maybe it's not new, but the updated version of files in iPad OS 15 is pretty stable. Plus, we have a progress bar finally. So I don't actually need that Mac Mini for anything.
Yeah.
I use it to upload YouTube videos still, just because it's easier to upload on a Mac Mini while I'm doing all the configuration. And because like my thumbnails are usually have the iPad in it and stuff, so I can take the thumbnail while that video's uploading and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I use it for. So it's kind of a waste right now, but I'm happy Mac users get shortcuts because, shortcuts is great.
Yeah. I'm also just trolling for the sake of that we've been having hot takes back and forth in our messages about like, I'm like, I'm actually enjoying using the Mac, and you're like, you're dead to me. So there might be some of that in this stream too.
I was teasing you yesterday because you don't get or Mac users, they don't get custom home screens with focus modes and stuff like that. So I was just like, where are your gods now?
Exactly. All right. Well, we got tons of people in the chat. Hello, everybody. Brian, Taran, Donald, nice. Sigmund just commented. I mean, that's pretty good space to start. He said, I'm just getting into widgets and focus across iPad and iOS. Have you found the right balance for using focus mode across both OSs just yet? Yeah. What's your setup going like?
So I touched on this in my video, but right now I have a few different focus modes. I have, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Actually, I can probably just pull them up right here because I have my iPad in front of me. I have the general do not disturb one that I call action, which is for filming mode, which turns off all notifications because I don't want any notifications popping up when I'm filming, but it gives me access to all the home screens. I have a fitness one, which isn't as, pertinent on the iPad, but it's for my iPhone, and it does some like shortcutty stuff in the background when that's turned on. Personal, it'll just show like my entertainment, reading, video game homepage. Sleep will show a blank homepage, and work will show like a very specific work homepage that has like LumaFusion, Ferrite, and like work-related widgets.
Nice. I just realized I might have muted myself for a second because I had the construction going. So please comment immediately if you hear that, because they're throwing concrete into the bin outside.
Oh, that's fun. That's
it's like literal jackhammers. This has been going for weeks on end, and so
oh my gosh,
it's kind of.
What are they doing? Are they demoing a house or something?
They're raising it 2 feet because the first floor was like a weird half story, so you couldn't actually like live in it. I'm pretty sure the guy's flipping the house, but I don't know. This is too much detail, I guess, but it's like they literally had to they like raised the entire house on giant beams and then took out all the concrete underneath, and it's been just I literally bought the AirPods Max just for it. But let's get back to the focus modes. I mean, do you have any automations going off of those yet? Did you?
Yeah. So for example, when I enable my work mode, it automatically triggers my time tracking shortcut. So it presents me with options to either start new time tracking or stop or change whatever's going on, depending on what's happening in Timery already. Personal just shuts off all time tracking. Action, when I hit action, it like sets the lights in my studio and everything to just be perfect, so like it's kind of my filming mode. Fitness is I like the fitness one. Whenever I enable that or start a workout or something, it automatically like puts my devices in do not disturb, sets the proper Apple Watch face to like my workout face and stuff like that. Yeah, like that's really nice. I like being able to, I know we got it last year, but being able to automate Apple Watch faces has really brought the Apple Watch back to me.
Totally.
Because I feel like I am not stuck with like the static computer. I can have it shift. So like one thing that I do with shortcuts is at 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. I have it on like the standard California analog face, because like by then that's kind of my cool down time. I don't want to see work stuff in my face all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
But between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. I get the supercomputery one. I forget what this one's called, the modular digital one that has like all the widgets and stuff. So like it's just like information overload with like here's what's playing and tasks and drafts and fitness and weather and all that stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I've been I haven't set up the automations for the focus modes yet because I have like 12 focus modes. So the part that I'm worried about, and maybe I just like, I mean, I've been also like on the Mac, so I think that's why I've been betraying you. But it's some other meta stuff also. But does it just show the shortcut running immediately after you switch to the focus mode? Like, especially if it runs in the background, it's just like, do you just get double notifications immediately?
You still get you get that activation notification like whenever an automation runs. It's just like any like time-based or whatever automation that you set up to run without asking. Because like it doesn't have to ask for permission to run, which is weird if you have smart activation on for the focus modes. Shortcuts can just randomly start triggering, and you're like, "What's happening?" So I've had to turn off the smart activation modes
that's a good point.
because I'm probably an edge case because I work and live in the same location. So my devices don't know when I'm working, and my devices don't know when I'm not working unless I manually tell them to, because I may work until 10 o'clock at night, or I may stop working at 2 p.m. Like, it really depends on the day.
Mine seems to like actually be, yeah, I mean, that's fair if you change during the day, but at least mine, I've found it in work mode and personal mode without me doing anything, even though I'm just here. I mean, it's still like, you can just go by time of day generally, and like day of the week.
Yeah, and you can set those activation modes too. So if you only work between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. or whatever, you can set up those activation modes. But I don't have a concrete schedule. It's just one of the things of working for myself. Like sometimes I'll go run errands in the middle of the day because, well, nobody's around, and it makes running errands in the middle of the day super easy. And then I'll work late into the night. So my schedule is kind of weird. So I think I'm kind of an edge case when it comes to the smart activation stuff. And it just makes sense for me to manually turn them on.
Yeah, that's fair. That's what I mean, a lot of what focus modes brings is what I tried to do all of last year and really struggled with. Like, I think just in general, my habit is to go a little bit overboard with some of these things. And so, fun fact, you can only have 16 home screens, which is disappointing.
15.
Or, oh yes, you're right. Because it's I'm not going to do the math, but it's rows of 3. But I only ever set up 14 also, because every time if you set up the 15th one and then move one widget anywhere else that bumps something onto the next page, there's just a cascade of like ruined home screens that would just that hit me so many times. And I mean, at one point I had literally every single shortcut that I made, which was at the time like 1500 on my home screen in folders, because I was convinced it's like that there has to be a way to actually use this. And then also on my phone, and I literally did it on my phone also with all of those home screens. I have corresponding watch faces for every one of those home screens too.
Oh my gosh.
Also, yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't emphasize that part when you mentioned it, that the part about when you have a focus automation that you can use the set Apple Watch face is like, that should just be built in, because I feel like nobody's gonna, I mean, people who watch these will discover it, but just on your own, that's kind of like another loop that even with that extra notification, I just don't want. But that's why. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I completely agree. Like when you're setting up customizable home screens, like which home screen shows per focus mode, like there should be an Apple Watch section in there too. Like you shouldn't have to make the shortcut automation to tie the two together, but you can if you want to. And that actually just gave me another idea for something that I need to flush out that I don't want to. No, but
well, I'm saying write it down in Quick Note right now.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, no, I'm doing it right now. But I have ideas. Okay. I really need shortcuts to get stable so I can start making videos about it. Shortcuts was probably one of the shortest section in my iPadOS 15 video, just because of how unstable. And I mean, it's beta 2. Like I'm not freaking out right now or anything, but it was one of the shortest sections because of how unstable it all is, and it got a huge rewrite and all that stuff. So yeah. I'm not worried about it or anything, but I am looking forward to it being stable and me being able to make videos about this stuff, because I got ideas, people.
Yeah, nice. Is that Phil is saying in the chat, I want Quick Note with fingertip. Didn't they add that in beta 2?
Yeah, it's in beta 2. So you can swipe in the bottom right-hand corner up with either your finger or the Apple Pencil now. It just wasn't in beta 1.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. Okay, let me hide that. Yeah, I mean, with focus modes, my phone screens weren't even loading in the first beta because I have so many widgets on them that I think it was overloading that menu. And I think even still, even in the iPad, I mean, I guess I haven't set any up in beta 2, but I had to like turn it on and then like go back out of the menu and then turn it back on again, and then it would show the screens, and then it would still freeze like every single time. Although that might be, I don't have an M1 iPad right now, so maybe you didn't experience the same thing because it just has more memory or something like that.
I would notice the files widget would sometimes crash and it would just load blank, but other than that, it's fine.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I have I have the M1 iPad Pro with 16 gigs of RAM, so it should be fine.
Exactly. Like that's I was like, oh, my phone actually is like struggling with this at some point. So I think someone replied to that and was like, M1 iPhone confirmed.
No.
I know, I'm joking.
No, that's so not going to happen. The iPhone will still stay with like the A14, A15 line, because keep in mind there's still the other iPads that aren't the iPad Pros that are going to be in that true. A series line. Like the iPad Pro is meant to be like closer to the Mac and like a traditional computer. That's why it gets the Pro chip. Just like how it always got the A4. This is one of the. I'm going to go off on a tangent here. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to.
I was going to say I hear it coming.
You're not going to stop me. The M1 is the A14X chip. It's just the marketing name is the M1 because they're putting it in the Mac. They didn't want tech headlines being like, oh, they're nerfing the Mac by putting a mobile chip in it, even though like the A12Z chip was already faster than most Intel chips. So it's just a marketing term. So everyone needs to stop losing their mind. Like the iPad would have gotten that same chip even if the Mac hadn't. That's just the way it is.
Well, wasn't it? I mean, like Renee said, the Mac got the iPad chip, not the other way around.
Yeah, the Mac got the iPad chip. That's 100% correct. Yeah,
I like
the
how
Mac got the iPad.
You were like, stop losing your mind as you're ranting about it.
As I'm losing my mind, just because like I'm tired of seeing YouTube videos that are like, Apple nerfed or Apple ruined the iPad by putting the M1 chip. How did they ruin it? They made it faster.
I love feisty, Chris. That's great.
Oh, yeah. I've had a little bit of caffeine this morning. I'm ready to get feisty. I made 2 videos this week that are basically like spite videos because I'm tired of seeing tech headlines and YouTube videos that are like, there's no pro apps on the iPad. Okay, here's a 20-minute video on it. iPad OS 15 is boring. Okay, here's a 25-minute video on that.
What a lovely energy to put out into the world.
Yeah, well, you know me.
I'm just rubbing you. See, this is why we gotta balance each other out.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just a little feisty this week. I did see somebody in the chat ask if you could still use the Apple Pencil to take screenshots. Yes, you can do that by swiping up from the bottom left corner. So the left corner is for screenshots, right corner is for quick note.
Yeah, fair.
Cool. I love those features.
They're running out of corners.
Yeah, seriously.
Let me just answer some questions real quick too, just because I missed a couple. Somebody's asking just what I'm streaming from. I'm doing an M1 Mac Mini, and I've got actually the CalDigit dock thing going, which is like actually pretty legit. I really struggled. Was like, does this even make sense with the desktop? But it is just like I have all of my video and audio inputs through one cable into the Mac right now, which is pretty dope. Like all of this is going through that.
Yeah.
So, or maybe not the overhead, but that's not even on right now. So
the M1 Mac Mini has not enough ports to not have something like that. Do you have the Thunderbolt 4 CalDigit one? Is that what you have?
Like the brand new one.
Nice.
I mean, I had enough.
I have the
before. I just had a USB dock, and I was maybe missing one more port, and then it was fine. So like, it isn't as bad as it seemed. The Mac Mini at least has just enough. Like, not the MacBook Pro though, probably, or like, I don't know. Again, depends.
Yeah, I mean, I have a USB hub sitting on my Mac Mini just for like Time Machine drives, and I don't even know why. Like, if that thing died, I wouldn't lose anything. Whatever. I don't even know why I bought it, to be honest. Actually, you talked me into it. It's your fault.
That's so not true. I was like, why are you buying this?
I asked you if I should buy it, and you're like, yes. And I was like, okay, Matthew said yes.
That's totally not true. I'm pretty sure I was like,
I'm just putting it
why are you buying this? Like, you do iPad videos, and that you were going to return it or like end up not using it, and it's totally what happened.
So for hubs and stuff, I got the OWC Thunderbolt 4 hub right now, and that's kind of nice. But next week I have their Thunderbolt 4 dock showing up that I'm really excited for. So like that one has like the integrated SD card reader and all that stuff, which is pretty important to me.
Yeah. Just on quick note, like I haven't actually tried this. Chris was asking about just like the Safari link, and I think it's on, or is it any
with a quick note feature of
NSU
it gives you? Yes. So basically, it uses NS user activity, so like the same API behind like drag and drop and like content and all sorts of like 500,000 things that are in iPadOS and iOS. But basically, if you have like a web page open, email from the Mail app, all sorts of different things, you will see when you activate Quick Note, you'll see a title of that at the top, and then there'll be a plus button next to it. You can hit that. It adds a link into that note, and you can just tap on that link to jump back to that web page, Mail. I think it works for reminders projects, all sorts of different things. I've noticed a few third-party apps that I would think it would work with. It doesn't, so maybe developers might need to do some updates to some stuff there, or maybe they're just not using NS user activity and doing something custom or something.
Yeah. Are you seeing it in any third-party apps, or?
I think so. I want to say, man, you're putting me in the hot seat. Here's one. I know one for sure that would do it if.
See, instead of me doing it live, I'm forcing you to do it live.
Yeah. Okay. It's not showing up for Drafts, and Drafts is like the app. Like if something's gonna work with, it's gonna work with that. So maybe
it could also not be active in the beta.
Yeah. I mean, because mostly right now I've been using it for Mail and Safari. Like those are the two things that I have been using it with the most right now. So it is still beta 2. So yeah.
Because it's got the Mail links basically at that point, which is
always
been able to get with drag and drop on the iPad.
Yeah, but
it's like
Mail frustrates me because you could drag and drop Mail into an app like Things, but there's no share sheet. Like, give me a share sheet of Mail. Like, finally, let me just generate a local link to a piece of Mail so I can put it in my task manager and jump back to it later. That's one of the things I like about Spark that they do really well, is you can do that kind of thing in there.
Yeah. Let's not get into the email thing because there's many. That's a road that you can go down too quickly.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
And I don't have a lot of nice things to say about email right now at all. So yeah.
Phil's also saying, I noticed full screen caps PDF works properly with Tumblr. I don't know what that means actually.
I'm not sure. And 14 dots. I'm not entirely sure what that is.
All
Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Feel free to leave a follow up.
So what do you think about the new shortcuts actions?
It's pretty legit. Here, wait, let me pull up that list that we have just because
I have the list you wrote that I totally curbed from you because I was like, oh, Matthew did all the hard work for me.
I mean, yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, for my membership thing, I have a preview of stuff that I'm writing up for. I'm going to do a full guide that is going to be public, but right now I wrote 8,000 words about all the new actions, which is a lot, but it's also 3 paragraphs per action. So I don't know. It's not if you sit me down with shortcuts topics and neatly organized into sections, I will just plow away at it. Maybe I should make it shorter, but basically, I mean, files were the big one. There's cool PDF stuff, which is can be pretty specific, but it's a lot of stuff that got taken from Automator. I mean, all the I keep calling it computer vision. Did Apple call it that or no? What's the text recognition thing?
Live text.
Yeah.
Live text.
Why is computer vision just stuck in my? That sounds cooler.
That does actually sound way cooler. Live text is not working through the camera app right now, but if you have a screenshot or photo, you can use it through Preview or the Photos app or something like that, and that's kind of cool. But I'm kind of waiting for it to work on the camera app because one of the cool demo features they did was you can raise up the camera, and if there's an address in there, you can tap on the address and it'll get you directions, or if there's a phone number, you can tap on it. So that's kind of cool. But I'm really liking the OCR actions. In fact, one of the shortcuts that I'm working on or trying to work on is a straight up OCR function. It's something that people have been asking me for years, and there hasn't been a good way to do it natively in shortcuts without something like Toolbox Pro or stuff like that.
Just scanning text from an image or PDFs?
Yeah. Take an image and get the text from it.
Yeah, I mean, then, there's an action that's called get text from image.
Yeah, so. But I'm doing a little fancier where it's going to be it's going to detect if it's a PDF or an image. If it's a PDF, it'll do the PDF action. If it's an image, it'll do that. And then it'll save it and then let you kind of do special stuff with it. So, I mean, it's not that fancy of a shortcut. It's not going to be that hard to make, but it's just, it makes for a nice demo.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff, especially when Shortcuts is less buggy, which is like Rowan's asking in the comments is like, does it still crash on launch? I don't actually have it on launch right now.
Not on launch, but like adding actions and stuff, it crashes. Luckily, it doesn't crash when running Shortcuts.
Yeah,
that would be
that's true,
terrible
actually.
right
pretty
now.
reliable
But,
there. It's just like UI stuff is, or even, it's just like not optimized currently. But it's definitely, I think some of the reasons it's hard to tell, but like I kind of assume that some of the reasons it stayed as buggy as it was because they're replacing it with this version of the app. And so like some of those things just like ultimately it's like you can't fix every single bug in a version that's no longer going to exist because it's fixed in the new thing. So that's kind of like the unfortunate reality right now. So hopefully public beta, or I guess it'd be public beta 2, but developer beta 3 or 4 is going to be just like more stable.
Yeah, we should get beta 3 next week, hopefully.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not entirely because
like
Apple released beta 2 last Thursday, but then they released public beta on Wednesday. So I'm not entirely sure what the schedule is this year around. It could just be like when things are ready, it'll release. So
I mean, it makes sense to do. I think they did the public beta just one day after, and it kind of makes sense to give it a few days so they can at least fix like
it was always 1 or 2 days. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's like you and I were talking about this, if it was like an every other week thing, like 1 week's dev, next week's public and stuff like that. I don't know about you, but I'm all in on the dev train. Like all my production devices except my Mac Mini are running the beta. Even my Apple Watch is running the beta, which I don't know why I did that. There's not really a whole lot new there.
I'm currently live streaming with 5 inputs on the macOS Monterey beta. So I will also just say props to Ecamm Live, because that's why it's working, not because of like I have no idea with OBS, but this is not sponsored by Ecamm or anything, but I love it because it is like I don't even have to worry about it. I had to download the beta because it would like was something that was going wrong, but then it just works fine. So that's pretty awesome. It even detects my camera input over USB-C without anything else, and no other app does it. So I have no idea what they're doing, but
nice.
Yeah, exactly. Like I love it. It was a terrible idea, but even it messed up. I think it on my Tascam, I think it removed the software, so it was only using the left channel, and which is an issue sometimes where like it's trying to put both channels in, and so it was only coming out of the left. And it messed it up so much that's why Twit sent me a replacement mic, because they thought my whole setup. So using the beta got me a new microphone and boom arm.
Nice. That's awesome.
Also, I needed it, but
yeah. But I think it works out. So what's going on with shortcuts for the Mac? I'm sure you really want to talk about this. I know you're really excited about it.
I mean, I'm not like
me. On the other hand, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm glad it's there for people.
Of course I'm excited about it. I'm not like in particular excited about those features compared to just shortcuts being everywhere now. Like that's what's cool. And I mean, let's get into the iPad angle later, because I don't want to start out with that. Because I don't want to make you feel. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's just.
I will defend my position.
We have exactly. I'm not like making an opposing position. But oh, nice. Phil is saying, I was wondering about the better mic. You sound really good. Sweet. Shortcuts for Mac though, I think it's first of all, it's just awesome that it's cross-platform now, so that. I think the whole part, I'll just say that part at least is like, I no longer have to, like, I still can justify the iPad for work, but I no longer have to think about, like, does shortcuts matter to people whether or not they use the iPad? Because that just was like a whole angle on top of just shortcuts itself, which is an amazing, I guess it's not touch-based anymore, but it's a graphical way to do programming on any Apple device now. I love that line, that it's on any Apple device, because that's, I guess, technically not Apple TV, but I'm not going to be that esoteric. It's like, I think
could you imagine like Vitici trying to build Music Bot on an Apple TV or something like that?
With the remote, like that'd be funny. But so it's very cool just to have, like for me already, I can make API calls on my Mac, which I've never been able. Like I probably could have figured it out in the terminal after doing it for years in shortcuts, but now I can make API shortcuts and run them from the menu bar, or you can put them in the dock. Ian from the shortcuts team, I saw on Twitter, you can once you add it to the dock, it basically makes a app bundle, which means that you could just move it and click it from anywhere. So you could put it on like your desktop too, which is super cool, or like in folders in the dock, which I like got so deep that I was like, how do I put custom icons on the folder so that it looks nice in the dock next to my application folder and stuff like that. But like if you just add a folder of shortcuts right on the dock, like that's also super awesome.
Or because you can put them in the menu bar now too, so you could use something like bartender, or what's that other one that's like a drop down, I forget what it is, but basically it creates like a second menu bar or something like that when you click it. So you could,
bartender can kind of do that, but
okay,
there's I think I know what you mean. There's another Mac app. I mean, this is what's cool is I've always used the Mac partially. Like I've done Final Cut Pro. I have always streamed from here, and I do like the podcasts like this on Twit through video. And so like I have used the Mac, and I've just like I've just very intentionally never said I'm iPad only, because I haven't been. I've been a huge enthusiast for it, and I can do almost all of my work from it because of shortcuts. But I just basically didn't want to like give that impression, because it is true that like I do use a Mac for a decent amount of stuff. And then now I can just do even more on the Mac than I could before. And yeah, my point was, I guess I can use all those Mac automation tools in tandem with shortcuts also. So like Alfred can launch a shortcut through, if you just do an Apple script or something like that too, which shortcuts is scriptable on the Mac. Did you see that? Like I'm going to put it in my newsletter.
Yeah.
The thing that Alexei was tweeting about, where you can like interface with the shortcuts app in an automated way more than you can through shortcuts right now, where like I can scrape data out of my shortcuts and things like that, which I mean, actually I can do that because I tapped into the shortcuts API that's available like on the web, that's kind of abstract. And then I literally open up the .shortcut file and scrape all of the comments out, and that's how I run my shortcuts catalog. But being able to do that from the command line and stuff like that is super. I mean, like I'm at the point now where I'm like, oh yeah, I can use the command line because I totally know how to do that. No, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing at all. And so, or like, I want you to tell me what I can do with shell scripting, because like I know, but I don't actually know. Like it's very weird for me not to be the expert. It's actually like confused. I'm like, when I was doing Zapier stuff, I was like, this sucks. It's hard. Like, which is what everybody feels about shortcuts. So.
And you know, like it's been so long since I've actually had to do any shell scripting. I mean, it's been like 7 months now that I've left my IT job, but like
I haven't done it ever. So
so I mean, there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. I mean, basically you are running code, like running commands on a computer, or running on a computer from another computer is what you could do. So you could do all.
That's remote, I guess.
Yeah.
So like just local scripting.
Oh, okay. So
like, what would you do with that anyways? Which
locals.
That's also the other angle.
So I mean, I'm thinking back to my IT days. Like I would have a script or something that could go through and like update software, or like trigger certain like we had. Okay, how much? I'm struggling because there's some detail I can't go into that I'm not allowed to. That you have to sign documents and stuff when you leave a job and stuff, and you're like, hey, you're never allowed to mention this stuff ever. So there are some applications that I used at my previous job that basically, in order to update them, you just had to basically run a file on a computer. So I had a script that would literally crawl the whole network for every computer that was connected to the network, run that file in the background and update that stuff, and then the users would get a prompt to like, hey, close this out and then reopen it or something like that if it was already open. So like it's that kind of stuff you could do. I struggle to think of things that I could do individually that like I would really want to do with shell scripting like locally on my computer, like just because like my background has always been like IT work and stuff like that. Like here's a bunch of remote stuff you could do. We might need to make a separate stream about this so I can play around. I'm interested for sure. I'm gonna install the beta on my Mac Mini and I'll play around with it, and I'll come back to you with some stuff because right now I'm struggling being in the hot seat, I guess. Literally, it is already 79 degrees at 9:30 in the morning.
Oh my God.
It's hot. It's already like stupid hot, and my fan's off and everything. So, sitting here trying to think of like cool shell scripting stuff to do off the top of my head is not exactly like the easiest thing to do.
Fair. I was going to say, Brian was asking if I can show what it looks like on the Mac. I can do a little bit of demos in a couple of seconds. I just want to make sure we get to like every comment and things like that. Yeah, okay, let me see. Yeah, Phil is like, yeah, the way they're stacking shortcuts rather than displacing anything is definitely great with shortcuts, because you can just do those kind of scripting things and trigger it via shortcuts, like, and from the menu bar, and just simple things that you never... I mean, like, I guess you could still do service menu and things like that, which is one of the ways you can run shortcuts too, is right clicking. I feel like that's a thing that everybody's like, oh, you can use the services menu. And I'm like, when I was a Mac user for like the first 10 years, I don't think I ever did that. I don't think anyone ever mentioned using the services menu. It really doesn't seem like it's a thing that's like Mac people know it, but I've like never, like, it just isn't something that I think of. I think of the share sheet, I think. So, which isn't even, shortcuts can't run from the share sheet in Safari on the Mac, which is really weird. Like,
that is weird.
I guess it can get the current tab.
Safari has a lot of issues.
Let's
right
not
now.
get into that one too.
I am.
That's a whole different story, which I think
that's another.
Just to come back to even like the bugs and everything, that I want to do feedback streams where I actually like file the feedback for all of those things, because I think that's a big thing that people don't do enough, is like articulate and in detail send feedback to Apple about the issues, and then a separate version that's like the actual solution, proposed solutions to, and options, and like thinking through that whole thing, because there's I think Apple, I don't know how to say this, but like they definitely need to hear from us more, instead of like, I was like telling you, I'm like, man, they should all those things, but I never actually filed the feedback. And so like, maybe they didn't listen to my one stream. Like, like, that's so vain to assume that Apple employees would be like listening along and filing feedback to what we're saying. So like,
hey, Apple employees, how's it going? I know you're watching. No, it's okay. I completely agree with you. Like, in my video, I made some comments about stuff that I think needs to change. One of those is multitasking on the iPad. So if you have an app open and you do the keyboard shortcuts or the menu or something and shift the app to the side and pick the app that it's going to do, so say for instance, I have drafts open and I shift it to the side and hit notes. It's going to grab the latest instance of notes that I've used, no matter what. Even if that instance of notes is already in split view with another app, it will break that split view pair to put it in the new split view pair. So like, one of the things that I think should change is when I tap notes, instead of immediately it going into split view, it should show the shelf. Let me pick, an option from the shelf, or create a new window of notes and then put it in split view. I feel because it's another step, yes, but it wouldn't break those split view pairs. And I think a lot of issues right now is like, I'll create a split view pair or something, and then all of a sudden I'll go back to my other window that I was working at, and now that's broken. And then I go to put that back together, and it breaks the other split view pair that I'm doing. So
I feel like you could do a solution could be that it's a trigger in shortcuts, or a toggle in those actions. Like, this is one of those areas.
But I don't want to create a shortcut every time I want to like put together a pair or something. Like, let me just do it in the UI. I
think it should be possible, but what you just said of it defaulting to putting another step or two in front of you, I could see that's why they don't do it, is because it's just like is slower, and that would get annoying over time. So like, I'm curious how much shortcuts and that, like, because I do think setting up, app pairs is something that I want to talk about, and the slide over actions is you can open apps in split view, and the open app action now has a slide over toggle, so that you can it's basically open and slide over, but you do have to like know that part. So if those had parameters that were like create a new app window, or like, as opposed to preserve the existing one, or like, I guess I'm trying to think of just the saving. That would be, I guess, the only toggle. Maybe like the shelf.
Yeah, I think
part.
show shelf would be like, I think the shelf should be utilized more. I think it's an interesting idea. It definitely borrows all the way back from like Vitici's like what iOS 12 concept or something like that, or
I
iOS
mean,
11
the
or something
name
like
at
that.
least,
But
yeah.
the name, but yeah, like I think it should be a little more prominent when setting up split view and stuff like that, because like I'm constantly breaking split view pairs and it drives me absolutely nuts. Like that's the thing
Yeah.
that I like the least about multitasking on the iPad, is the fact that those get broken up so easily.
Sorry, I think I had your audio too quiet. So let me know
Oh,
if it's
hello. Can
yeah.
can everyone hear? It doesn't sound as crisp as it should.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
bad. I turned mine up too because I wasn't sure about the noise in the background.
I have my fancy podcast microphone that I don't even have a podcast anymore. So
Yeah, let me know if that sounds better. But yeah, I think it's I think that's a good example of like the problem is that your split view pairs broke. And that's the issue, and that how they implement it is ultimately going to be up to Apple, because they do like, I think that was a fascinating thing, is just seeing, because I worked there for a brief amount of time and just seeing some people like dissect a problem, and I was like, oh yeah, all those things about like, did they even think about this? It's like absolutely they did. And like it's usually the 1,000 no's for every yes kind of thing, or like if it is any way more complicated, it usually is like, let's do the simple version that won't confuse people. And so I think that's a good point, is just like, it'll be interesting to see where that split comes with. Shortcuts is the solution on all Apple platforms for customizing your setup. And so like, even further now, I think it's going to be interesting to see whether or not those controls come through shortcuts or in the settings or something like that, that is maybe not as native for people who get confused, but then like you almost are expected to use shortcuts. But I want that at least, because and I think the Mac, that's why the Mac thing. Okay, they're saying now Chris is too loud.
Oh wow!
I do think you were peaking a little bit. That's why I had it down.
Oh, hang on. I could turn it down on my side. Am I better now,
I think
guys?
that might have been it.
Is
I
this
think
better?
You're talking really close to your mic also, so you're just peaking.
Yeah, I know. I have that habit of like when I was taught to use a microphone, like you're right up on it and you're like doing this.
They didn't
stuff.
have a Shure SM7B, I think.
Yeah, no, I always forget. Like this microphone, I can be like a foot back and everything will be fine.
It's also coming through Skype and everything, so that's
and YouTube. By the time it hits, YouTube does such a compression, especially on live streams. Like it's one of the reasons why I don't do live streams, is because it's really hard to do right. So yeah.
At least it's. I mean, yeah. Again, Ecamm, I'm all about it because it makes it a lot easier. But I mean,
yeah, and it's hard to do it from an iPad too. I mean, it's possible. I've done it before, but it's just not. It's not.
Weird. So you can't get it done from there?
Oh, don't even start with me. Don't even. How's your customizable home screens when using focus modes, Matthew?
It's great. It's wonderful. I activate them from the Mac, which is a cool feature. So actually, like, just to slide right past the snark. It is cool that the home screen things sync across all of them. And I think even I put this in my newsletter too, that somebody on the Reddit r/shortcuts, if you folks don't know about it, is there like 200,000 people there now? It's crazy. But there's you can, if you trigger focus modes from your watch, it triggers on all your other devices too, which is pretty legit. So like you can run automations from your watch specifically by just triggering a focus mode. Like
that's the only reason why I put watchOS 8 on this thing was because of the focus mode, so I can jump between them all. I do not ever recommend putting betas on your Apple Watch because you can't get off of them. You can't go back.
I don't think I realized that.
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't reinstall profile.
It's all just like in Control Center too. That's super.
Yeah,
I need
it's
to move
super
that
nice.
to the top.
It's super nice.
Oh yeah, I have shortcuts on my watch face, by the way, which is if you remove all of your shortcuts.
Are you using the Siri watch face?
Yeah. Or it's
wow. So we found the one.
No, my
automations. Siri watch face.
My automations change my watch faces for me. So it's like, I think maybe when I use, I don't remember which one it's. I'm redoing all that because I think that's what happened to me last year, was just like I did all of his home screen stuff and I got so into it, but then I just had 15 home screens and it was like switching between those and everything got to be a pain. And like it's like this version of these updates was made for me, because now I just have all those focus modes and I can activate them at a different time. It can set my watch face and everything. What I'm trying to figure out, so Shortcuts for Mac doesn't have automations right now, and I'm trying to figure out, I don't know if it's just not going to get it, or if you're expected to basically run like cron jobs from the terminal, which is like, I don't even know what I'm saying now, because it's like, that's not.
I bet you it just didn't make it in time, because that's going to be something that has to be rewritten from scratch. Like, you're not going to just be able to port over the iPad automation stuff.
I mean, a lot of it doesn't really make sense.
So I bet you that just doesn't make it in this version, and it's a next year thing, honestly.
But also, you could, like, this is where I'm like, am I saying things that are true? It's like, you could just use Mac automation to run your shortcuts on automated schedules and things like that. So like even Hazel and I don't know, like I think that's all the stuff that you're going to be exploring.
I don't know how Mac shortcuts is all set up, but I don't see why.
I mean, it's scriptable from the command line. So
yeah, then in that case, absolutely you could do it. So but you could use like Keyboard Maestro or something like that to do it. But that seems like a whole lot of extra work. Yeah. That's why, the iPad's the better computer.
Because you can't do any of that on the iPad? Or no?
No, you can. I have automations on my shortcuts. My shortcuts has automations. Okay,
that's how you're going to hold on to that, and then next year I'm going to just...
Next year I'll find something else.
Rub your face in the dirt. No.
Next year it'll be like, oh, I have better external monitor support, hopefully.
Than the Mac?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they do. Who knows?
I mean, continuity, or... What's a universal control? I'm super interested in.
That's pretty cool. I can see that being really handy for when I do need to use my Mac Mini, that I could just like put my iPad next to it and like push it over and stuff like that. And apparently that's still not in the beta just yet.
Yeah.
But when that is, I might install the beta on my Mac Mini just to try that out, because that would be a nice feature.
By the way, Brittany says, I use the Siri watch face. I love it. Is that not supposed to be a thing? Yeah. What are you're like totally hating on it for no reason?
Well, okay, hang on. Let me back up here. So that was like enabled in like watchOS 4 or something like that. It was before they made the screen sizes bigger, so it hasn't been updated to support the bigger screen sizes, so it's still smaller. And then on top of that, it has never been touched since. It's still the same watch face from watchOS 4. They haven't changed anything on it. Actually, I think one year they added third-party support or something, and that was it. Like, and
wait, what do you mean it's smaller?
It's not. It's so like, how some watch faces.
I guess it doesn't use like the top part.
Yeah. So like the older watch faces that are still in watchOS, they don't go all the way to the edges like the newer watch faces, like the California watch face and stuff like that. Fair.
I guess they're just like chunkier. I kind of don't mind, because I'm not a huge fan of those chunkier ones.
I don't know. I like the I like the super computery. No, that's your old podcast. The other like the computery watch face and stuff like that, where I see all my information and stuff. It's nice.
In theory, that's what the Siri one does, but not.
But I don't know. I just never found it to actually be useful in a way that I liked.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess something else. I guess Mac has an applications folder, but I was going to say App Library is the new thing on iPadOS that I'm digging into. That's definitely just interesting to like integrate now.
I have mixed feelings on it. I'm not a big fan of the fact that developers pick the category for their app, and that's just where the app lives, and there's nothing you can do about it, because some developers pick categories for their apps based on like how their app will do. It'll do better in this category as opposed to the category I feel it belongs in. Like there's a lot of stuff in the productivity folder that I do not think should be in the productivity folder.
Yeah. Although I did notice, I think test flight apps show up in the original folders now.
Oh, do they? I know they still have the test flight folder.
Yeah, but now like Ulysses is also in productivity. So which is nice. That was a big thing that was annoying, was it on the iPhone. At least for me, or maybe not in the second beta also. Like I think there's a couple reversions because they re-released.
Oh.
But I was seeing it that
Because I'm not seeing any of the stuff that I'm on test flights for in the app library right now. Because that would be great if they did. Because that's one of the things that bugs me the most is like, because like I'm like always permanently on the Timery beta because Joe does a great job at like constantly updating Timery. So like I never jump on the stable release or the App Store version. It's pretty stable beta. So I don't see that in here. I also don't see Overcast. So
boom, got my iPad right here.
boom.
Got Craft. I got.
Are you on the
Node
Craft beta?
in here.
I thought they kicked everybody off.
That's true. Maybe that one isn't, but you can see them right there. MindNode there and in there. So, oh, you know what? Oh, I wonder if I have both versions of MindNode.
Oh, wait. How can you have both versions?
I have the like enterprise version. I don't remember. I bought it at some point.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so that's probably two different versions then.
Yeah. Let me see what else. So, oh yeah, Rowan is saying the Apple Watch face also brings a scrollable view of events, which is nice. So that's a
like the series watch face. Oh yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't like having events and stuff shoved in my face on my Apple Watch.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, you don't have any events, so.
Wow, like way to make my life sound
independent
sad.
Workers is what I'm saying.
I had an important meeting this morning with the shortcuts guy, Matthew Cassinelli.
Fair.
I needed that reminder. Plus, I think I have something going on this afternoon. So I still do stuff sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, here's Brittany's follow-up, too. It's like, that if that is your... Yeah, I'd literally never noticed the difference in those watch face sizes either. So, like, that was an interesting... I've just never... cared. I think the other ones look too chunky to me, and I've never really been a huge fan. So maybe that's part of it.
I'm just full of useless information, to be honest. I mean, like I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, "Hey, when did the iPad get the X feature?" And I was able to bust out. It was like, yeah, and I was just able to bust out the version number. I don't know why I can remember these things, but I do. It's my gift and curse.
Ooh, I want another thing that I was thinking about. This is the big widgets on the here. Let me actually show that too.
I want a big shortcuts widget. Apple, you're watching. I know you're watching. I'm hoping you're watching. Like, please give me that big widget for shortcuts.
Oh yeah. So why don't I just show some of my screens too? Here, let me pop.
Is that fantastic, Hal?
No, it's just a calendar one. They have this cool 2 day or like double day view, and then the things coming up. And I have like excessive amounts of calendar events in here right now. Here, wait, let me get us. Can I do both of these? Okay, there we go. So this is, we should have started this with this earlier, but, and Chris can't share his screen because his beta thing is crashing on Skype. So unfortunately, crashing.
Yeah.
We'll, tease those later or something like that. But this is like I'm testing now. I also just moved the shortcuts user group to Discord, so I'm using that a lot more. So if you all are interested in joining, I think I'm going to post about it this afternoon and get a public link out there.
I'm in there. Yeah, I'm not very active, but I'm in there.
I mean, I'm just
starting.
You
can say hi.
And we're going to do streams like this in the future in there too and stuff like that. But basically, this is like my main screen. Here, actually, this is the best way to show it. And then I have one for every, of course, all of my stuff is based on the colors of shortcuts. And so I just like have to design my whole life around this. It's very excessive.
I mean, that's how my shortcuts are set up too. Like it's broken up into categories and each category has a color. Like I think it's kind of a typical way for shortcuts users to organize that.
Yeah, exactly. But then I basically eventually just grouped all of my areas of life into these different colors. So there's like shortcuts, videos. This one's kind of a home one, which music is red, and so I can't not have my music shortcuts be red. It just kills me otherwise.
My music shortcuts are green. You know, some people just want to watch the world burn. Now, screw Spotify. I hate them. They don't have any good shortcut support. And they don't even have good lossless support. I want my fancy lossless music.
Oh yeah. This is my writing one, and I'm switching my researcher one into just a dedicated folder. I had like writing and iMore, but I'm not doing a ton of iMore articles. Green is communication, which I actually like. I don't know. I need a better version of that. I got health. This is web and my newsletter, travel, productivity, podcasts/podcasting, entertainment and streaming, and then photos. And I had like a settings one, but I also just like don't use that. And another category I do have in general is just like finances, but I don't have these on here, and I probably should, because it's interesting how like not having a finances home screen, sometimes I'm like, oh man, maybe I should pay more attention to my finances. It's like, there's a whole meta thing that I want to get to eventually about how I've now categorized my life too much, and that everything has to fit into these weird categories that I've created. And so that's a mess. But I basically have then grouped all of my different focus modes. And look at this. It's like, it doesn't even fit on the screen. And I haven't tested the exact limit, but I bet it's like 15 also.
I think it's 15.
Yeah. But so personal only shows the subset of ones that aren't specifically related to work. So like there, now I can just see photos. Like this is just what it turns on automatically in the evening. Then during work, that one, I wish I could sort those manually. Now it's just all of my like work screens, which is like, there's a little bit of overlap, but this is still just nice not to see my like travel or health ones if I'm not focused on that right now.
Do you put like, so one of the new features with the home screens is, actually I can see it right there. You do it. You can put the Discord. Yeah, exactly. So you can use the Discord app twice. That's kind of a nice touch for people that are hiding home screens and things like that. I haven't found a whole use case for that just yet, but I figure if you're doing something super custom, that's nice that it's there.
Like Instapaper I've got on there a couple of times because I use it in different ways, but I'm also probably getting rid of some of that soon. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that these are all stacks.
Stacks on stacks on stacks on
like
stacks.
Every single one is stacks on stacks. Because I've gone through phases with shortcuts where I went to every single thing was an individual action, and that's why I had 1,500 shortcuts. And then like 6 months ago, I went back to like, I had, instead of 100 folders with tons of shortcuts in there, I put those 100 things into just single shortcuts with a bunch of menus. And since then, I've gone slightly back into a balance where it's a lot of shortcuts, but I also have a lot of shortcuts. Like I've been doing this for 5 years now. So like this is Brittany is like, I wish mine are organized. And it's like, I do this as my full-time job. So like I spent an ungodly amount of time during the pandemic working on this stuff and my home screens and getting this all organized. So that's definitely why it's not, it's a little much, but
I do feel slightly betrayed. We had our nice therapy session on cleaning up our shortcuts. I'm only at 61 shortcuts now. Man, I've pared down so many.
That's good for you, but I'm in a weird space too where I'm sharing shortcuts, so I do want to make sure that stuff is just like accessible to people. And I think those menu things, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I undersold how much was actually there. Like it really was teaching you hundreds and hundreds of the things, but I only had like 25 shortcuts. So if you didn't like the title or something like that, you wouldn't get to see a lot of this. And I think it's just like, I gotta just be doing streams all the time to be able to show off this much stuff, because pre-producing it into videos just takes so much more time. Oh yeah. Stu's in here cheering for Slugline because he develops it. So yeah,
does
thanks,
he?
Stu. Shortcuts
nice.
Support, please. That's what you get. Sorry, man.
If you're a developer, add shortcut support to your app.
I mean,
and if you are Twitter, add the ability to add photos to a tweet, to a composed tweet via shortcuts. Yeah. Oh, it's the bane of my existence right now.
That's fair. We can file that to them. But Stu and Antonio and I in the shortcuts user group, and when we were in Slack, but I got to get this thread somehow into the Discord, is we had a whole method of scraping scripts and like finding, let me see my NFC.
Oh yeah, you showed me this. Yeah.
That's a blank one. Where did this go? Just like all of these elements of scripts. Where's the tab? Oh no, can I not close it right now? Is this a beta thing? Okay, swipe. Like this is action. That's the person. There's like I guess I don't know what you would call that. But just all these different things. I wanted to scrape it out into like columns and make my shot list and stuff like that. So
nice.
That's definitely like a super advanced use of shortcuts that was like all regular expressions that I can never even build myself. So Antonio's a boss.
Regular expression is fun. I have a couple of shortcuts that I've used them, and it's one of those things that it takes me like 2 to 3 hours to write the regular expression that does like this simple thing. But then when you do it, you just feel like you're invincible, and you're just like, yeah, nobody can touch this.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. Let me get to a couple more comments too. Oh, that's just you. Okay.
Yeah.
Viper, thanks for tuning in. He's the master of hosting stuff like this, so I got to learn from all his experience.
Mm-hmm. He does a great job with Clubhouse too.
Yeah. Twitter Spaces also, I think that was this morning. Oh, yeah. And then just like my wallpaper. I got to find this original photo, but
you've had that as your wallpaper for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. But the color-coded folders took a while. Let me see. Although Electron web-based apps don't have good shortcut support, that's definitely going to be true. I mean, that's what we didn't even mention, that is that Mac apps can add shortcut support, and they can bring over the shortcuts APIs that they use for iOS if they've already gotten those. So I think technically, I don't understand, but like Craft's action for like open, I think it works already on the Mac.
Oh, nice.
I don't know exactly, but not everything else is automatically supported.
Well, Craft is a Catalyst app too, so that may make it a little easier. Yeah, it's a good Catalyst app.
Wow.
But it is a Catalyst app.
Good Catalyst app.
Yeah,
or is
it's one of the few.
Yeah.
I think Timery is also a Catalyst app, right? Isn't it? Yeah, I know it is. For a fact,
he's just still
Joe
working on
told me. Yeah, but I'm on the beta for it, and it's a good Catalyst app.
Nice.
Sorry, Joe, if I outed something. No, you've talked about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Publicly, I think so.
Let me see.
Matt is the shortcuts king. No, I take offense to that.
Are you the shortcuts king? Do you want to have a showdown right now?
I feel like it should be a shortcuts council, like the Jedi Council. Like we can all sit around in chairs and just like be like regular expressions.
You are not. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. It's too dorky. You're not worthy.
Give in to Automator.
You cannot train him. He's too old.
To the dark side.
He's too old. He's been corrupted. We're dorks.
Well, that just turned into an ageist thing. Wow, way to go, Matthew.
I don't know, that was the Anakin reference.
Yeah, and look how that turned out. He killed younglings.
Oh, nice. Emma was just saying, I love when I remember small regex things without looking, then you feel like a wizard. That's totally true.
I've never been able to do that. I have like a regex cheat sheet saved somewhere that I constantly reference all the time. I don't know how anyone can remember it.
I mean, I've got a, let's see, right here. Mastering regular expressions. Maybe this should be an extremely boring series of streams where I go through.
Oh my gosh. You just read it like a bedtime story. Maybe put some like lullaby music underneath it. I'll grab a blanket and like a little hot, some hot cocoa or something, and just like
regular expressions. Also, us plus Tichi. I gotta get Federico in here. We're Rosemary Orchard also, and Scotty Jackson. If folks don't know him, he does a podcast with Rose, and we've all been talking about doing like squad streams. Definitely once it's more stable, I think is the big issue. But I want to do that. I want to get Tichi on and John because we've got the Mac now too. So like we can get. I want to get anybody and build shortcuts live. Like that's the most fun to me, because even when you were saying before, you were like talking through one and I was just like building it in my head. Cause like, I can just, I don't know. It's just like, once it's fast enough, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One thing that feels like a regression with shortcuts, and I don't know about you, but, they've taken the name out of the shortcuts, and they did that last year, but like in the action, like you can't, so it makes it really hard for me to film myself, because usually what I used to do for shortcuts videos is I would have another device next to me with the completed shortcut, so I knew exactly like which actions, because sometimes I'll just straight up forget a name of an action. Like I will just completely blank. Like this morning I was trying to remember like the shortcut action name to get like a file type, like how to get the file, and I couldn't remember what it is for the life of me, so I had to go scrolling and stuff like that. Yeah, I couldn't remember that for the life of me for some reason. So I liked when the shortcuts name was on the action, but I know they're now compact and you're supposed to be able to see more and stuff like that, which is nice on the iPhone, I guess. But,
a big thing that if you didn't know, I mean, you know this, but I didn't know this until I worked at Workflow, that if you tap on the icon of an action, it shows the info menu, which shows the description and the inputs and outputs and the title now, which like I literally was sitting next to Ari, who's the founder, and he like tapped on the action, and I was like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I just didn't know that was there. And so it was like so much easier to understand.
Yeah. When you tap on it, you can do the show info. Yeah, because there's also now the collapse feature. I'm very excited about collapse.
Yeah. Okay. Let me demo that too. Here. Okay, everybody can see things. Oh yeah, and Dark Rock is saying he can show me in Ecamm how to do the squad stream, which is legit. Oh wait, why don't I just open? See, this is maybe I shouldn't demo it almost immediately.
Yeah, I know. So, it's just so buggy.
I got it specifically file feedback about like, because I just have hundreds and hundreds of shortcuts, so I gotta assume there's some sort of sync thing going on. There we go.
I don't even think that, because like I get that same issue, and I only have 70 or what did I say, 61 shortcuts now.
Yeah.
So I don't even think it's that. I just think there's
I'm just going to a random one. Oh yeah, I'm getting a lot of these too. Sync errors.
Oh yeah, same here.
So on a shortcut, this is what I was saying. If you just tap on this.
Yep.
This show, I guess this is now a lot more obvious because they had added the contextual menus, but originally I just didn't know that would show up, and you can see how it works, what it takes as it comes in, and then what it passes out, and then like just add it directly or even favorite it. But now in there's also this collapse thing, so like I can just like collapse that when I'm not trying to show it, or this is really what you need to know for the menu, and so like I can show that these are just like the options, and then now that's what it looks like, as opposed to all 48 actions in a row, which can be a lot. So I like Doc says only 61.
So I combined a bunch of my shortcuts into like more oh gosh. I mean, I used to have like 100 to 200 on average or something like that, but I combined a bunch of mine into one and made menus out of them, and it just made it a lot easier to run them from like the home screen and like different, because like with the widget now, like widgets and stuff like that, you can't display as many as you used to be able to, and so it's
stacks,
a lot easier.
Because
what's that?
We were talking about
this
beforehand.
I don't like the current widget at all, because you can't put very much in there. Now on the iPad it's a little better now, but that's because they spaced all the icons out. But I have 3 shortcuts that sit in my dock, and then a folder that's full of shortcuts as well, and those are kind of like the ones that I just run, that you would typically run from like a widget or something like that. And then I have a bunch of share sheet ones, and I have my own issues with the share sheet ones, because if you don't limit the file types for the share sheet, they will get out of control really quickly. Yeah. So like you have to be constantly on that when building them. That's like, okay, only show this for PDFs or only show this for images.
Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely for the share sheet, I need to even filter mine down more. And actually, we should get to that before we finish. The new share inputs are actually super legit too, because it cuts out something that I was doing in every single one of my shortcuts.
I can't get it to work.
Oh yeah, okay, we can maybe do it. I won't do too much debugging live, but
yeah, I honestly think it's a bug. I can only get it to work with URLs right now.
Just a quick thing, Rohan is saying there's no date. I actually turn off the date, because when I record my videos, I don't want people to know when I film them. Because it always psychs me out that one person is going to be like, you filmed this 2 weeks ago, and then another shot was from today. Like
when I had a day job, I used to turn off the date and AM and PM. So that way, like if I called in sick, and if I was sick that day, but I was actually filming a video, they wouldn't know. They couldn't be like, oh, you clearly filmed this when you were supposed to be sick. So yeah.
But I mean, going back to the folder things, like, look at how many shortcuts I have. Look at how many folders I have. There's no. First of all, we need an open folder action. I'm kind of surprised we didn't get that, because that makes a lot of sense to me, just to be able to jump into a specific folder immediately. But basically, I have here. Actually, it's more clear in the all shortcuts view, because I just have like I specifically broke out into different like phases of video production, different tasks, and it almost, it was very weird. I was like, is this just me fitting into the space that's available? But like, it almost always ended up being around 8 tasks, which is what a shortcuts folder fits. And so like
a widget.
Yeah, the folder in the widget. But basically, it's become to the point where like my home screens are significantly better for using my shortcuts than the shortcuts app at all, because like just in here, it's like this giant overwhelming thing. But on this page, it's just like, where am I in the process? And then, I mean, this is still a lot, but it's all there. Like I have, what is this? Like 200 shortcuts on one home screen in one stack. So like, I'm just finding this super powerful for my specific, like if you just go all in on shortcuts, you can actually fit them all into one page for a specific thing and for specific contexts. And this is why I think I got overwhelmed by the volume of screens without focus modes. But now that that's in here, plus all of my widgets being in stacks, I'm like, this is amazing. Like sometimes I'm literally confused because I'm like, this should have been harder, but I have all these shortcuts and it just was right there and it was easy, that I'm like saved a bunch of time. And I'm like, I'm used to this stuff taking more effort, and it's all like available here. Plus something that's probably more interesting is just a motorcycle drive by your house?
No, it's drag racing. So remember that image I sent you the other day? Yeah, we have there's a very explicit image that I sent. No, that made it sound dirty. Not dirty at all. It's me flipping off cars because they were drag racing while I was trying to film. So I sent that image to Matthew the other day because I have people that drag race next to my house all day long, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah. Antonio is in the comments. I speak regex. Yeah, but I mean, all of these stacks, even with these giant widgets, like you were in your video, you were demoing that the files one can be set to any location now, which is pretty legit. So like I have a bunch of stuff in the shortcuts thing. You can do tags. Like this is just my recent folder.
Oh yeah, I love the new files widget. So one of the things that I was hoping for iPad OS 15 was the ability to add files and folders to the home screen, and this basically gets us that. Now, I was thinking it was going to be like custom folders and make something out of it, but honestly, this works for me. Like you just pick a directory. So like I have my documents, a temp folder, stuff like that.
Yeah. See, I got shortcuts hidden everywhere. Or I guess those aren't as much, but yeah, this is the good one. Was this is like I have a screenshots folder where I move all of my screenshots in, and so it's just like immediately available. I can see the most recent one that I took. It's not
working. You know what? It's beta life. Like
yeah, exactly.
It's just so many things are just like half broken, half working, and it's just like, okay, like I know it's a beta. I did it to myself. Even this year, going into this year, I was like, no, I'm installing the beta on my 11-inch iPad Pro, not my main one. My main one needs to stay pure. Nope. 15 minutes after the keynote, beta was on my main iPad Pro. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like you can put folders on the home screen. That's pretty legit, like the desktop.
Well, I mean, that's just
I can't
through
tell if
the
he's
files
just trolling
widget.
Too. Also,
oh,
because he's like, now he just needs stacks on the dock, and it'll be like the Mac. I mean, it's all. I think that's what's so clear, though, is just that all of these things are so much closer to each other now. I mean, not the home screen specifically, but I think having the focus modes sync together is going to be really good for the Mac. Just because, and the iPad and universal control, like I do see it fitting into a lot more like natural space for me, where I am cross-platform and I can literally just, I mean, like I don't have to reach to use my iPad separate from the keyboard that I'm currently using. So like just being able to trigger those things automatically will be great. And you could change the focus mode on your Mac, and then your iPad is just set up with, it's like a Stream Deck now, almost even more than ever, which is pretty legit. And I have my Stream Deck, so like,
yeah,
I can probably run shortcuts from, which is legit.
I've been playing around with the idea of like having, well, okay. So when I'm working at my desk here, I have this 11-inch iPad Pro that's kind of like my testing backup device, but I've been putting MFC deck on that and like having that open. So
Nice.
I'm like, as I'm working, I can just reach over and hit a button and trigger a shortcut to play music in my office here to the home pods that are right behind me, and like, you know, run task management stuff and all sorts of different things. And it's just really, shortcuts is just that, it's so nice. It's just, it's any time I get to talk about it, I'm excited, because I it's such a nice way of being able to customize your computer into a way that without it, I honestly don't think, if workflow wouldn't have come around when it did, I don't think we would have anything like shortcuts today.
Yeah.
I really think it all goes back to workflow. And
that's amazing. Like I am so grateful, especially like I jumped on that team super late and then we immediately got acquired. And so it's like, I mean, it's a whole thing now with Apple and like remote work. That's like, I just didn't feel like working there at the time. It wasn't what I was for me. And this is the best possible version of what could have come from it. It's like amazing.
Because they weren't going to let you do this. Like, they weren't going to let you live stream. Like, that's what you should have done there. But like, they weren't going to like do live streams where like you sat down all day and just like talked about what you could, what the possibilities are, which is something they should do. But then they would be cutting into my meal ticket, and no, thank you. Like, that's my job.
I'd have to drive 2 hours a day just to go do that.
Ooh.
2 hours one way.
At least you'd have time to listen to podcasts, which I don't have time anymore.
I bought it. It was right when I worked there was when the Switch came out, and it made me car sick in the bus, and so I couldn't use it. And I was like, damn it.
Oh, so you weren't even driving your car too. You were
they
just
have a whole bus system, but it's still like,
right. I forget
it was
that's the
I
thing.
felt like a kid. Like I was being like shuffled onto a bus with like a bunch of other adults, and I mean, that's, I don't know. I'm not trying to complain about that, but it's just like, I really enjoy being able to talk to people directly about this stuff, because it's just like, I like using it. I don't necessarily want to build it, even though I want it to be as good as possible. I do think using it and showing people directly is exactly what is like, that's the point of the tool. And I think getting it in front of a lot more people is fun. So we definitely got to do more building streams.
And I will work on trying to get my overhead rig and all that stuff set up so we can live stream it through Skype and stuff like that. So I have
something about a Mac maybe.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's just.
I mean, we'll be using it to show what's running on an iPad.
That's like what I do.
You know.
So.
Yeah. So, you know, the Mac is the sacrificial computer.
Yeah. Okay. I want to do one more demo before start. I want to get back to some of the earlier questions too.
Yeah, sure.
But the share sheet thing is super interesting. So now in shortcuts, also, let me see. Is it even going to show up if I don't have?
Yeah, I think so. If it doesn't crash.
Let me just see. Okay, this is a current bug. Is that it won't show up there, but if you go here, it does show up. So let me just find notes. Okay, there it is. So now when you activate the share sheet, and there's a new option for receiving what's on screen, which is basically the Siri remind me about this thing. And then also, I guess you can turn it on here, the menu bar and the quick action for the Mac, which I'll also show. I forgot to, somebody was asking for that earlier. But basically now it combines all of those inputs somewhere. It's frozen again, but you can see it up there in the background. It says receive any input from share sheet, quick actions, and what's on screen. That's okay. There we go. So it can basically like customize. Here's how you filter, like you were saying, filter down the options so that people don't, if you're not sharing a text thing, it won't show up if this is toggled off. But basically this part, if there's no input, continue, get clipboard, ask for, which you can then do these different options. You can just ask to input files, text, date, photos, contacts, all of these default things. I'm curious if this will even expand into like third-party pieces of data, which would be awesome. Or I'm going to explain all this in a second too, because it's not immediately obvious, or it can freeze and then spawns, like speak out loud a prompt for you. And then it can, I guess that doesn't take input. That would be ask for text. Or no, is it? I don't think I've actually tried the prompt part. But for me, the get clipboard part is really useful because in almost every single action or shortcut, I wrote an article about this like years ago on the Suite Setup even, that I would always start it with, if there's no input, if it does not have any value, then get the clipboard, otherwise get the input. And I would have to also choose which kind of input. Now that's basically just built in to every single shortcut right at the top. And essentially, I guess I didn't say this up front, but that means that the shortcut can run in a different mode without having to like script in what kind of input it's accepting. So now, essentially, if you are sharing from the share sheet, that data will be passed into the top. If you are just running it from the home screen, it can just get your clipboard because that's the if there's no input part. And then if you're running it from the Mac and you like aren't using the services menu, services would pass in through here too, but from the menu bar, it could just grab your clipboard. And so it basically makes shortcuts work in universal contexts without having to like script that all up front. It's just a feature built in. This is a very fascinating thing where like, I wonder if they saw how I was making my shortcuts. I don't know. I have no idea, but like I've made enough of them and I did this every time that this is like clearly power users are running into this all the time. I like never even would have thought of making this a feature, and now it's just built in. And so actually like this is legit for me because I had to do the same thing in every shortcut over and over again. It's just like inefficient, and anybody who was learning shortcuts would have had to like learn that technique, and now it's just a feature built in. So that's actually really nice.
Yes, I'm curious to see how it kind of works in later betas. I can only get it to work with like the what's on screen stuff to get it to work with URLs right now, and even then it's a little rocky. Like it doesn't always work. So I'm just assuming, I'm chalking it up to bugs right now.
Exactly. So. It's just not working as much, but in theory, it sounds like it could pull data from like any, like if I was looking at a things project, I would want it to be able to get the deep link from that project and put that into my shortcut. And that stuff is like, that's what we're trying to do from the share sheet all the time. But if it can just, you can be open and actually trigger Siri, which is, what's the keyboard shortcut for Siri? I don't remember. And
it's Globe S.
Okay, which is awesome. So you can trigger shortcuts with your voice on iPad, which I've almost never ever done because I have a HomePod next to me and it gets confused.
Or you can enable Type to Siri on your iPad, hit Globe S, and then just type the name of the shortcut. Yeah. Or you could even take it a step further, which I talked about in a previous video. You can set up a keyboard text replacement for it. So I have a time tracking shortcut that says time tracking. I set up a keyboard text replacement that's TT. So I could hit Globe S, TT space, puts in time tracking, hit enter. It'll run that time tracking shortcut right then and there.
That's
Boom,
fair.
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, that seems like I don't like that Type to Siri is like wipes out regular Siri, even though I don't actually use it as much, but I want to as part of it.
So I don't use voice Siri on my iPad. I leave voice Siri enabled on my iPhone. Obviously it's on my HomePods and stuff like that. It's on my Apple Watch, but my iPad, I figure I'm like sitting there and interacting with it. I'm not like yelling at it across the room or anything to do stuff. So like Type to Siri is great on the iPad, especially now with that keyboard shortcut. I'm using it all the time now. Yeah,
I think they used to
that's something I've been asking for.
I wrote that article for iMore that there was an Ask Siri function in Spotlight. And to me, being able to open Spotlight, type the name, and then hit the Siri thing sounds like a better flow than wiping out Siri entirely. Because I only never used Siri on the iPad because it got overlapped by HomePods and stuff. So like now that there's a keyboard shortcut, I actually want to run my Siri shortcuts from Siri because otherwise I never do.
Well, you could still, no matter what, like you can right now run a shortcut from Spotlight by just typing the name and then selecting it
and tapping it, I guess. But if you could, that's fair. I guess just ask Siri in general. Like we're mixing those two features. It does. John is asking just like, does it disable Hey Siri? Oh God, I said it. Oh no. Sorry, everybody.
What's going on?
I said the trigger phrase, which I try to avoid a lot because otherwise everybody's devices go off. But it does disable it, which is like, if you could just do both, I'd be great with. But
yeah,
I think that's why.
I think there should be an option that, like, if you're physically hitting a button, then it does type to Siri, and if you're saying the trigger phrase, it does voice Siri. I think that's the way it should work.
That's specifically what I didn't want. I want this keyboard shortcut to activate Siri.
And that's fine.
Then
that's fine. That's okay. That's your prong. You do you. You do you. No, I like type to Siri because, like, I have been working. We have this little park at my complex here, so I've been working outside in that park in the mornings when it's not 100 billion degrees outside, and that's in Kelvin too, by the way. It's that hot here. So I don't want to be seen sitting there yelling at my computer. Task management.
That's fair.
Do task management.
I mean, that's why I don't want to use the trigger phrase, and I just want to use the keyboard shortcut. And it's like,
but I just don't want to be the weird guy in the park talking to himself.
Gotta normalize it, man. That's what we're.
No, thank you. I'm not the one to do that. I'm not the champion of that at all. That's not for me. Nope.
Let me just have my
tablet. I'm here to be the guy that can tell you can work from the iPad and that the iPad is a better computer than the Mac, obviously. But no, I'm not here to be the guy that sits there and talks to the computer all day long.
I'm just gonna let that slide.
You should, because it's true.
Yeah, okay. I saved a couple comments, but I think we have addressed most of them. Oh, I do want to show it on the Mac. I think that's going to be the main thing. Let me just prove you wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Pointers, URLs. Yeah. A lot of this stuff I think we did answer. Wow. Okay.
Nice. Well, we're good. Awesome.
Oh yeah. And Doc Rock wants to help you with Ecamm Live, by the way. And
oh, nice. I don't know anything about it. I don't do a lot of live stream stuff.
Okay, sorry. I'm streaming with him on Tuesday. If people do want to tune in, I'm probably gonna go over a lot of this too, but just like maybe even more detail, hopefully, on Doc Rock stream on YouTube also. So definitely check that out. I think you could just search it in YouTube and it should find it. Although, don't leave the video to do it. That's current stream.
Yeah, no, stay here. We're important people.
Okay, Maxwell was asking, does Universal Control work with two iPads? I don't know.
I don't think so. Yet. It's not working yet, and Apple didn't demo it. If
they went across to Macs, but
they went, yeah. It'd be dope if it worked with two iPads, because with iCloud
on either side would be legit too.
It would basically be like having multi-monitor. I would go buy another 12.9-inch iPad Pro.
I would just
no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's too much. All right, let me show the Mac too, and let's see. I'm gonna just switch into desktop mode from here. I haven't done this much on Ecamm. Well, there's
hey, you're giving away our secrets.
It's just the outline. We already talked about it.
I know. I'm just kidding.
So here's shortcuts for Mac. The automations definitely aren't here, so that's the major missing part. Okay, will this show? Okay, hold on. Let me switch off from. Let me just show, I think the entire screen. Okay, it's going to have all my other stuff in here.
There's so many me's on your screen.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of overwhelming me too.
It's like
it's showing Ecamm too. It's not supposed to. Okay, well, let's just do that temporarily real quick. And then I'll just show, the menu bar is up here. And so like I can run shortcuts from there. And
that's pretty cool.
They can get
it's not individual shortcuts in the menu bar. It's just one. Oh, that's a bummer. Never mind about my idea with bartender.
Yeah, so it's not the same as you're expecting.
Yeah, that was not what I was thinking it was. You can tell I don't touch the Mac very often because wow, you have a lot of stuff in your dock.
None of these mine are not synced. Yeah,
this is judging
look,
your dock right now.
You can see my video home screen. It's like I'm trying to do the same thing. These are each of those segments where I do different like communication, internet stuff, or some of these are out of order now, but planning, streaming, photo. So it's like all the same style, but I'm just doing
Why do you have both Lightroom and Lightroom Classic?
Because they'd have different features and one of them syncs. But I mean, a lot of that Mac action, I think the moving windows thing, I mean, I need this for while I'm live, but yeah, man, there are like 10 versions of your face on the screen right now.
Yeah, no, I'm like, woo,
sorry.
Yeah, party.
This is what I'm looking at.
There's a party happening, and only I'm invited.
Yeah, see, I bet Doc can help me with figuring this. I thought there was a version to hide Ecamm, but that's fine. Not important. Oh yeah, and I have dock zooming active because I have so many.
You're a monster. You're an absolute monster.
What if I just did all the way down and then just what? Dude, this is perfect.
First off, the dock should be on the left-hand side.
Nah, not when I have my universal control. My iPad's gonna be over there. Oh wait, can I even? Oh no, I guess my iPad's down below me. But I mean, some of the Mac actions, I think the main ones that I'm going to use are for moving windows. So like I'm developing a system of what is the perfect Mac window size and then rearrange them all to that, or like having two up side by side, one on the left, one on the right. I also just got a MacBook Air, and it's very interesting because I almost exclusively use full screen apps on that because it's so small, and then none of that side by side stuff.
Whoa, we found the one person that uses full screen apps on a Mac.
Yeah, dude, it's like overwhelming otherwise. I mean, I definitely am getting the like remembering why I like the iPad otherwise.
Because
let me just
better
show
computer.
Even
because iPad's the best.
I'm just gonna keep doing tons of streams. Oh yeah, you wanna import your audio into iTunes?
I knew you were going to do that.
Victory.
Why is that not in the iPad?
Yeah, I don't know.
People.
That's cool. So at least I'll have a whole epidemic sound workflow.
That is not an option in the iPad.
Oh, this is awesome. Emma's saying she had Steven and TJ got her to move the dock to the right, and then it's like so many that it was scrolling off the bottom. Yeah, that'd definitely be me. So got to use that space, man.
By the way, for those that don't know, the dock on the iPad has now been upgraded to 17 apps. I'm so excited for that.
I think I got 17 here on the Mac.
You got more than 17.
I almost tried to recreate it all on here.
That's too many.
So, I mean, there's not a whole lot to demo with them. I mean, like, the way they run looks a little weird to me, and there's not, like, keyboard controls for, like, navigating in between here. So I am finding that I'm clicking a lot, which I would think you could. Oh yeah, Stu's saying hide the dock.
Unless I agree with hide your dock, but I have a 32-inch monitor, so I don't hide my dock because I don't need to. But if you have a small, 24 inches and under, hide your dock.
Almost like yours is horrendous though.
Yeah,
I had this problem.
I like that this stream has turned into judging Matthew.
That's fine.
Like
I mean, I'm a newbie Mac user now. No, that's not true. I've been using it for like 15 years. But
I was gonna say, even I'm not a newbie Mac user, and my dock's not horrendous.
It's actually thrown here. Let me get back to something that's not as overwhelming. But I'm like relearning how to do my stuff on the Mac now because I've been so used to doing it on the iPad, and I think that cross-platform stuff is going to be super awesome. Oh,
yeah.
This guy, hey, go scoop the poop. I did it last night. I didn't mark it off. That's on my notifications that's my cat. Just so you know, not. I do have a cat. That'd be weird otherwise.
Oh dang, Stu's got the ideal setup, an iMac Pro next to an XDR display. Whew, it still hides his dock. That's a lot of screen real estate there.
Well, for me, I think it was from streaming specifically because my iPad is right here. If my dock is hidden, I would like go up and then back onto the screen, and I have to like be very specific. So I'm not set on anything. I think universal control is going to be like the right one.
I think that'll change things.
I like literally would have to hide this and shrink it and do the expansion the way I have it set up. I'm trying to figure all that out now. So that's definitely something I'll be figuring out more in the betas. But there's definitely a lot of room to explore. And I think all the stuff of like Keyboard Maestro, all those things are going to be super interesting, tied into shortcuts or better touch tool. I was debating getting a MacBook Pro because I wanted to have the touch bar, but I just remembered if I use my iPad with Sidecar, it shows a touch bar. So I can actually just like put my shortcuts in there. And then like even universal control, I don't know. It's going to be very weird to run Mac shortcuts on my iPad. But
yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, I've actually never used Sidecar. You'd think that would be like the one Mac feature I'd use, but I'm like, I have like a big old monitor, and putting a 13-inch iPad next to it, it just feels weird. Like maybe if I was still using my 24-inch monitor, I would use it more. But no, fair. I'm not. I just, the Mac isn't for me. It's not for everyone.
Here's another Stu coming in with the opinions of why would I want to be looking at the Pages icon when I'm editing photos in Lightroom? That's totally fair.
Because maybe you need to go into Pages. Oh God, no.
But on a
I'm so
on a
honestly
laptop,
surprised full screen is still in Mac OS. I'm actually surprised they haven't taken that out.
feature file feedback, or there's feedback that I've filed that you can't open an app in full screen on the Mac because the open app in Action on iPad just does it in full screen automatically. So like there's no distinction for Mac apps. Like I can't use shortcuts to do
So
that.
wait, you want it to open in full screen?
On my MacBook Air, yes. Like music. I just like
you might be the
let me show
only
you.
person.
You say that about everything. There's millions and millions of people who do this stuff.
Millions and millions of people that use Macs, but
this is why
not in full screen
this is
mode.
also broken right now. But if I is this gonna show? See, look, I got. Wait, where is the music app? I put this in full screen, and then I have the mini player over here.
It's all
So,
white.
oh, okay, that's not showing up. It might not for you also.
Maybe not for
sharing.
me. Maybe
Yeah.
it's on the stream.
I'm seeing it on the stream. So, but
okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Ooh, good question here. What are some of your wants for Safari extensions on iPad? To put the old version of Safari back.
Yeah. I mean, the extensions specifically, I just want like, I mean, I don't know where the overlap is going to be with the share sheet and stuff like that. But like, I have review, I have an extension that can add stuff to my, that web app, and there's no iPad app for it. So like that kind of stuff would be nice. I mean, isn't like 1Password or like...
Yeah, they already announced they're working on an extension for Safari, so it'll run on your iPad, iPhone. Obviously, they already have a Mac one. I'm curious to see just kind of like what developers do. I think one that I really want is YouTube picture-in-picture. I know it's technically YouTube is kind of adding it, but let's just be honest, they'll add it to the iPhone and not the iPad. I know that's what's going to end up happening.
I don't know.
They said it's coming to the iPhone. I don't think they said it's coming to the iPad.
They might have said iOS, which is like them not distinguishing. I don't think that would be an extension though, because that's just part of the video player. I don't know. I don't use many Chrome extensions. I like moved away from it because a lot of them were either inefficient or like reading all of my website just to take a screenshot, which is like built into the feature.
Chrome extensions are basically malware. Like when I was in IT, I literally had a group policy that prevented people from installing Chrome extensions because there's such security issues. Because that like you could just get a pop-up and like freak people out, and they'll click a button that'll install a Chrome extension, and it's terrible. So like I blocked almost all of them, and then I could go in and like allow a few. But I'm hoping for a picture-in-picture one. I'm hoping developers can create one that puts the share sheet back if Apple doesn't put the actual, because like right now I hate that more, but I hate that everything.
I mean, that's a little different. I think they're like Phil is even saying that they've already fixed some of that, so I think that'll just get addressed.
Have they? Because the reload button only shows up if you hover over it with a cursor. If you're in tablet mode, you got to go into that more. But actually, you can pull the refresh. I don't think I've seen a lot of people, but it's not like you have to be at the top of the document and stuff like that. So I want my old Safari back.
I actually do like tab groups though. I think it's like the rest of it is a mess. Yeah, see, everybody's like saying I like tab groups, but the rest of it get in the bin.
I like the new tab view in iOS. So like when you swipe up from the home button, and I also don't mind the gestures too at the URL box at the bottom of the iPhone. I like that the URL thing's down there and the search field's down there. I don't mind the gestures to swipe between the two or swipe up to go into the, because I got those pretty easily, but I could also see like most normal people, like I always think about my mom. My mom will never find those. Yeah, my mom's is one of those people that still force quits all the apps in the background because that saves battery life, which is a shame. Like I tell her she's bringing shame upon our family every time she does that, and she still keeps doing it.
Well, my girlfriend does too, so can't stop people. It's clean. I don't know. But I don't like that the gestures interact with the home indicator gesture. So like you have to show the search bar by swiping up and then you tap. But if you just try to tap on the URL while it's like hidden, you just tap home and then close Safari. And so I think they can.
Yeah, it's a little too close. Like it needs to be raised a little bit, but then it's like, I don't. It's not great. It's not. It needs a little more bacon.
Which I think
Not.
they've got 2 more months of in the oven.
I don't know if that's enough. I really don't know if that's enough.
We'll see. Also, I do think, I don't think picture-in-picture is working on the beta, but Phil is saying that it was in 14.6. So that kind of makes sense that they just haven't done it for us yet. But yeah, Doc Rock, when my family does that, I weep softly inside. I do close out. I've been restarting my phone like almost every day because of the betas. So that's something that's totally true. It's like,
I would say beta stuff aside, like I'm force killing apps all the time because beta, but when I'm not on the beta, I don't.
Yeah, fair. Is there anything else that we should cover today? I mean, we've gotten a ton of it. We didn't get too specifically into like, I don't know, just like files can work outside of the Shortcuts app, which is great, so that you can.
So nice.
On the Mac, I can create those file structures on my hard drive too, which is pretty legit.
Yeah, I unfortunately I haven't been able to get them working. Every time I start to build them and then run, it crashes. So I'm not. I need to file some. I'm sure they know about it, but I need to file some feedback anyways.
I had to do like a fancy. I'm like building the shortcuts differently because they only like connect if you place them in the right spot and then after. So it's like all this
right now it really wants sequential order, like start at the top and then work. Exactly. And it's like, oh, that's not how my mind works. Like, if you guys can't tell by this live stream, I'm usually all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. There's so much with it. And I think it's harder than ever that it's all interlinked and overlapping. Like, Shortcuts is across platforms. And so I'm just excited to basically, like, do what I need to do where I need to do it. And that's, like, in theory, what Apple devices have always been about is, like, you use the right computer for the right job. All the way from the watch and the phone up to the iPad. And then like my Mac is now more of specific tasks and the iPad can do a ton there. And then I can just kind of flow between them and use my shortcuts to have it be even faster. So I'm so pumped. Like, it's so good. It's still just like, I don't know. It's hard to even grasp what it means because I do just think shortcuts is the most accessible way to do any type of programming. And it'll just lead people in the door if they are interested in going into actual programming and stuff like that, that now you can mess around with it like us and basically become pro scripters. But then if you really want to like code an app yourself, it's actually not that different than what you end up doing in Shortcuts a lot. It's just a lot more of it with all these files that are hooked together and like really in depth, but it's still a lot of the same type of repeating and doing math and stuff like that in weird places and stuff like that, that I feel like it's just a cool bridge across all the platforms. So
yeah.
What do you have any like final closing words or anything like that?
I'm excited. I'm honestly really excited for the future of, you know, the iPad shortcuts, all that stuff, because this feels like a big groundwork update. Like they did a lot of quality of life improvements, but with stuff like multitasking shortcuts and stuff like that, like coming across like platforms and like just being refined, it kind of feels like they're laying the groundwork for the next big thing. And I know a lot of people were upset they didn't see Final Cut and Logic and they didn't see like true external monitor support, but I kind of feel like a lot of the stuff that's in this release is kind of laying the groundwork for that. Because there's that stuff's not easy. That's not just like, oh, I'll just bust that out and, you know, Xcode in the afternoon or something like that. There's a lot involved with all of those things that I just mentioned. So like I'm digging into a lot of the sessions right now, a lot into the documentation and stuff like now for my my big walkthrough video that I do in the fall, and it's eyebrow raising. Like I'm really excited for it. So
yeah, I mean, even like Phil saying Swift Playgrounds is coming later, and so that you can publish straight from the iPad.
I'm excited to try that. I have an idea for an app. I don't know if I'll ever get to it and finish it or anything, but I'm going to play around with it. That's for sure.
I feel like, I mean, especially Shortcuts coming to the Mac is really good for the iPad too, because it'll get tons of people into Shortcuts. And then I still think, like, currently it's totally true for me that it's so much more pleasant to build Shortcuts on the iPad just by like sitting there and dragging it around than clicking and dragging on my Mac. And so I bet tons of times I will like set it up on the Mac maybe for like a Mac thing, but then actually build a lot of the logic on my iPad, and then that brings it back down to the phone and also. So I think it's like that all is going to be really good. And the iPad, again, like you said, it can just be set up for whatever next stage. It's like it gets annoying that they have to do those iterations, but it's just the same thing of like if they brought widgets to the iPad, we just would have had really bad widgets right away. And instead now we have better widgets. Developers only need to add that larger size and then we're good to go. Like now all these Mac apps will have shortcut support across their iPad and iPhone apps and Mac apps. And then that means when the iPad eventually does get even better, it will just like already have that stuff set up from those Mac apps too. So like that's legit. But I think what I like about your YouTube channel, which everybody, if you haven't subscribed, you should. And congratulations on 100,000. That's so legit.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I texted you when it happened, and I was just like I was freaking out at the moment. Like, yeah, it was a good day.
Yeah, that's good. But I think just for what I like about what I want to do in the next year is just use this. I don't want to wait till what comes next. Like that's what Shortcuts has been this whole time. It's like pretty clear that it was going to come to the Mac eventually. And so now anybody who's been invested in this is like a pro automator on their Mac now too. And I think that it's really worth it to get into this stuff and really figure out across all those platforms what works for people. And like, that's what we're here for. So I hope people tune in more. Let's do some more streams and
absolutely
just like I want to help people directly and everything. So like if you, I got to make a submission form for people to like become guests on here too. And also look for the Shortcuts user group Discord, because we're just going to be sharing stuff in there regularly as well.
Yeah. Now that the public beta is out and everything, we can definitely, share and talk and go into way more detail than what we could before. Yeah. So I'm really excited. This is going to be a fun summer. Yeah. I truly think it's my first summer, being full-time YouTuber. So I'm going to be able to do a lot more than I typically was.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't even met yet. And that's so weird to me because I've known you for so long now, but like the pandemic was so long, but
yeah. I mean, and then also I had a job too for a long time, but for those, I mean, I guess we can give a little spoiler. Matthew and I are going to have a bro date next Friday.
Should we do a video? Like, do we just?
I think we should do a video. I'm going to bring my stuff. I literally ordered a new ND filter the other day, so like I kind of want to test it out. So yeah, we'll do a video or something. How about that?
I'm trying to drop into the chat also. I think this will work because I'm the person in charge and I don't get banned from it. I almost just dropped a URL scheme. Wow. I was typing YouTube:// yours is Christopher Lawley Untitled site, right?
Yeah. Here I have it. I can get it really quickly. Clipboard manager.
Oh, look, I just used Alfred to open it right away. That was convenient on my Mac.
I wonder if it lets me post URLs.
I dropped it in. I don't think it will.
Oh, there you go.
And then I just put things in the chat too. And yeah.
Yeah, 100K.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Dude, that's legit.
Yeah, silver play button.
Yeah, when is that going to show up? That's what I was going to say.
I haven't even gotten the redemption code yet. I think my channel's still under. It has to go in review. Like a person has to approve that this is actually legitimate and I didn't buy 100,000 subscribers. Then I get a code, and then it takes like 2 to 3 weeks to be made. So I'm waiting for that now. So
nice. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right, let me see who else. Anything else? Oh yeah. He's saying Richard's saying you guys are best. No, you all are the best.
Yeah, you guys are the best.
Oh, these beautiful.
If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So you guys are the best.
All right, I think that's good for now. Hour 15 minutes. That's a pretty solid stream.
Yeah, that's definitely solid. I feel like that's a good place to go.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This was fun too. All right, we will see you sometime soon and see you in the Discord. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.